You may know him from his time with Coed in Cambria, but we have Mike Todd here to talk to us at WXAV about his new band, Flux Fortuna, and we are glad to have the opportunity to talk with you, Mike.
Thank you, man. Thanks a lot for having me. I'm glad. Believe me, this is the first official interview of as Flux Fortuna.
And I'm glad to have it. So, can you tell me about the significance and the reason you picked the name Flux Fortuna?
Well, it's hard to say. There was a lot of back and forth. Basically, the incarnation of the band is this. I had written these songs, and here and there, like in various places that I've been the past couple of years. I was in jail and stuff, and for a couple months, and I wrote a lot of them in my head there, and then in holdings and halfway houses. While I was waiting trial, I got to have a guitar and really pen these out. And my good friend Brian Hinckley he was in this band Tree in the '90s here in Boston, and they were very big, kind of a more harder edge stuff. And then I knew him from he was the band Clutch's road manager, and played guitar with them after set on tour when Clutch supported us in 2007. So he heard about what happened and got in touch with me, and we were jamming and stuff. Just because music's just a good outlet always. You know what I mean? And he's he's also straight edge, clean, sober, which is what I am and what I've I've been trying to be for the past 6 years, except for little moments here and there. So we had that in common. So we were sitting around playing some music, and I was basically possibly going to be playing bass for his new band, which has Never Been Caught. And at some point, I started playing some of my music, like the songs that I'd written, just on the acoustic. And he was like, "Wow, it's really just some really interesting stuff. It's really different, and you're good, And I was like, very shy. I wasn't sure if I wanted, it was just for me. I didn't know if I wanted to do anything with it. And he kind of convinced me to. So we were talking about names for a long time, and we didn't really know if we liked this one because it's very easy to mock the whole Flux Fortuna thing. You can see it. I can see people, That's what I go for always when I'm coming up with a band name or a project title, is how easy it is to make fun of and how bad it is. But really, the Flux, it's basically like a swell of good fortune. You know what I mean? It's ironic. It's meant to be ironic because really this has been the worst couple of years of my life / the best couple of years of my life. The first year after the incident, I was happier than I've been in a decade, probably. Truly at peace and content and happy. I was a little lonely because I'm far from friends and family, but I made a couple friends, and Brian was there, But the art was flowing. I was really having a good time with the art, with the music, and I've been writing. I'm writing a novel as well, which I haven't really talked about this much because I'm sure it's going to take me 5 years to finish. But hundreds and hundreds of pages of that, and the music is just spilling out, And then I got cancer, or I got diagnosed with cancer, and it was cancer that is apparently I've had for quite some time, because this is going, sorry if I'm prattling on. It's kind of
Feel free.
Significant story though. I'll just, it is what it is, man. I had a testicle that turned into a walnut. Thing was petrified. It was crazy, and the doctor was like, "Holy, wow." Something to that effect. Even it was all over the ultrasound technician's face. She was like, "Oh my God, how long has this been like this?" Anyway, I'd had cancer for a long time, and this is a month after I'd gotten an arm surgery. I needed a surgery on my fingering arm at the elbow for over a year. With Coheed the past year, if anybody saw us on tour, probably saw me in a great deal of pain or wrapped up, possibly even in a cast. And I had put off surgery 5 times and just never got it done when I was with the band. I just never had time. We were so busy and had to, the recovery period alone. So I got this thing. So I'm in a cast, and then that prevents me from playing. And that was terrible. And the pain is excruciating. I have a second surgery I need to get yet. And then the cancer came out of nowhere, man, and the band title came about right around when the cancer relapsed, when the cancer had returned in my lymph nodes, which is the possibility of a with testicular cancer. Testicular cancer it's a good cancer. People, it's a kind of a term people use because it's super treatable, super curable, and it doesn't really cause a lot of problems. I was in the unfortunate percentage where it spread, and I'm still dealing with it actually, but I think we got it covered. It's a lot of chemo and stuff. So in the midst of like awful chemotherapy, just getting that bad news, dreading having to get another arm surgery down the line, but happy, and so that's what Flux Fortuna is. It's really, I'm in a completely different life than I've had forever. People say you have many, stages during your life, and I've literally lived 12 different lives in my time. I've lived in so many different places and had so many different groups of friends. I've been married. I've been this, I've been that. And, of course, with COVID, I've got that tramp, vagabond, gypsy blood in my veins, man. You know what I mean? And I've been stationary here in Boston for, like, almost 2 years now, and that's not me. That's totally not me, you know what I mean? I've never been in one place in more than 2 months in the past 10 years, 13 years. So here I am, man. But the fact is that I'm happy, and the art is flowing. You know what I mean? When I'm unhappy, I have a channel, and it's just flowing. I've got probably 11 or 12 songs totally complete, and another 20 that are just around the corner. So Flux Fortuna is where I'm at. It's my swell of good fortune. And that was the story.
But with that being said, the music obviously is autobiographical, but is your book going to be a complement to that, also autobiographical?
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's probably going to be a fiction. It's going to be on the fiction shelf, but it's going to be based on my life. Like the stories are going to be real. Just the people's names are going to be changed. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that people don't want out there. Because I can assure you, I've had a crazy life, man, and it was like every week somebody else was saying, meeting people here and being in the house with these people. Every week someone's like, man, you got to write a novel. You got to write a book or something. You've got the stories you have. So it's going to be a collection of stories, memoirs, but they're probably, I might embellish a little bit just for good reading, but really the core story is going to be totally autobiographical, and it's going to be crazy.
So your guitar playing is very interesting because you were a bass player for a very long time, and you actually originally were a guitar player, but you have this kind of bass player playing guitar mentality. You don't use guitar picks. It's very funky and groove. So what influenced you, or who influenced you to play this way?
Well, the easy answer is my favorite artist, songwriter, business person, poet of all time, which is Ani DeFranco. She's my inspiration. I got to meet her once, as an adult when I was like in California. I saw her play a whole bunch of times with my girlfriend at the time, and I got to meet her, and I just dorked out. I was like, how do you say to this woman who's like 2 feet tall, just so small with a personality that reaches out of the room, and just so right on. She's just such a righteous chick, I love her. Her guitar playing is unparalleled, man. She's unreal. She shreds. And it's that finger style. She plays like slap acoustic guitar. Practically. So it was the combination of her and Joey Eppard, who, for those who don't know, it's our old drummer and their current drummer, Josh Eppard's older brother of Coheed & Cambria, I'm talking about. His band 3, I used to go see them play when I was 12, 13, when Josh was actually the drummer of that band. I met his brother years before I met Josh, actually, because I would kind of tag along with him and watch him play and sit down in the community center in Woodstock or the youth center in Woodstock and play acoustic guitars together and try to learn his parts, and he would show me. And he's got my style is very, very similar to him, only with, like you said, a little bit more of the bass player mentality.
So then, for someone who has never heard your music, and there's probably a good amount of people because at the moment you're pretty much on YouTube exclusively, how would you describe the sound of Flux Fortuna to them?
Oh, it's so hard to say. And like you said, yeah, it is only on YouTube. And it was only originally I put the songs up there so the guys I was playing with could hear them and work on them while we weren't physically in the same room. and I was going to take them down, but I left them up to get people, interested. It's a very bare bones version of the songs. I mean, the songs have like this '80s mentality, I think, a little bit, and the melody, and this. There's a little swing. There's going to be some like funky groove type stuff, like you said, but not like ridiculous like Incubus type stuff. It's going to be good old fashioned Americana rock and roll. There's going to be some really straight up folky, just folk songs. That's very much in the Ani DeFranco vein. Very relying heavily on the lyrics. You know what I mean, and the story to write the song. But then it's going to be a wide spectrum, like Coheed was, because I have such a wide spectrum of loves, of genres. But it's going to be a rock. It's going to be an acoustic-fronted full rock band. You know what I mean? It's going to be very roomy and spacious, accessible but tight, and hopefully succinct. As far as this stuff goes, I can be pretty self-indulgent with my playing. So hopefully, what I'm really hoping to come off as is like Coheed was. I think I want to make music for musicians. You know what I mean? I want to. It's just going to be tasty, man. I don't know how else to say it. The visions I have for the songs is going to be grooving, and some of a Police vibe. There's definitely going to be some little blues type feel, secular gospel. I don't know. It's going to be all across the map, man. But it's hard for me to say because I haven't hashed the songs out. Originally, it was going to be, all right, I'm the musical director of this project. I don't want any other, I want some guys that are going to play what I tell them to play because these songs have a purpose. But now I've been playing with people who have brought so much to the table that the songs it's going to evolve on its own like a full band. That's why it's not Michael, Robert, Todd. It's actually Flux Fortuna, because there's going to be a collaborative effort. So I know I'm making these answers kind of long-winded. I kind of have a lot to say about it, you know what I mean? I don't want to misrepresent myself.
No, that's perfectly fine. Long answers are fine with me. But your live EP, you're recording that. You just got your full backing on Kickstarter, so it is going to happen for sure. Can you tell us a little bit about the live EP?
All right. This is unfortunately my time frame isn't going to. I'm not going to make it just because the guys aren't ready, but it shouldn't be more than a couple weeks behind. It's going to be 5 or 6 of the songs that are going to make up my full album, and ones that really show the wide dynamics of the band. It's going to be 4 of us, bass players, 2 guitar players, one being myself, with backup vocals, and a drummer. And we're going to play on this soundstage in this studio live. It's going to be as if, people, you were in a studio making an album. When you're in a studio making an album, everybody plays together while you're recording the drum tracks and everything else is kind of scratched. We're going to do that, only everything is going to count. We're going to play all the songs and we're going to release it as is. So it's not really a live album like on stage per se, but it's going to be recorded all at once live, showcasing the musicianship a little bit. It's going to be a little loose, but it's also just a way for the songs to be heard in their full band version of the songs. And the idea is give me something to tour behind once I'm allowed, once my shackles come off here, and give me like a something to sell so I can raise money to make the real album, which is going to be, an 11, 12 song CD or digital album.
And do you want to re-record some of the songs that are going to be on the live EP, or are they going to be exclusively on that EP?
No, they'll be re-recorded, most of them, I'd say, if not all of them. There's definitely, because I'm working with Wes Styles also, who is Coheed and Cambria's touring keyboard player, and also a singer-songwriter himself, and puts out his own records. He's going to be playing keys on it and actually mixing and mastering it when I get to that point. I think he's going to mix this as well, but I'm not sure yet, so I don't want to say that for sure. But yeah, because the songs are going to be pieces of art, and there's going to be many more layers. I'm looking for some orchestra, and like I said, piano, maybe some other players. I'd love to have some choir vocals here and there. I mean, it's hard to describe, but you'll see. I wasn't kidding when I said there's going to be some gospel in there.
Awesome! I can't wait to hear it. But can you tell us about the band members that are going to be playing with you, if you've kind of determined all that already?
Yes, absolutely. Well, The only really constant is going to be Brian Hinckley from Never Been Caught, Tree, and Clutch. He is my co-pilot right now. And on drums, his brother is probably going to be playing on this. There's going to be probably some musicians trading off, one of which who may be my permanent bass player is one of my very, very best friends, a man named Clutch. Ironically, it has nothing to do with the band Clutch, but the man's name is Clutch Riley. He's 65-year-old jazz player from New York. He's been on. I brought him on the road with me just as kind of like a tech when Coheed was, popping. But I know him independently from the band, just from New York, and he's the baddest dude ever, and the coolest guy. He's been around the world. He's been doing this forever. He's a dog, And I mean, it was kind of silly. I'm gonna have a 65-year-old man up there just tearing ass, but I'm hoping that he's going to be the touring bass player. But right now it's him and a young man I know here from Tufts University, who's actually one of my students here. I'm giving some lessons. Named Ben Stern. He's going to be playing bass. And like I said, the drummer is going to be Bill, who's Brian's brother. And there possibly might be another drummer playing on the EP as well, a guy named Wes Silva, who's a local drummer, phenomenal drummer. I don't want to jinx this either, but I've got a rough template studio version of Clean Your Room and Open a Window that he recorded drums for, and he actually engineered. And it was like kind of our template song to see how everything sounds together. So we did record one track, but I'm thinking about putting it up online for sale next week.
Awesome.
That's it. Right now I've got 2 bass players, 2 drummers, and again, Wes Styles out in California is going to be playing keyboards. It's just going to be from the other coast. So those are the musicians I have right now.
So starting this band now, I mean, obviously it's been close to 13 years since the last time you were starting out in a band. How different of an experience is it this time?
Well, I don't really know yet because I haven't really come out of the gate yet. But I've always been pretty grounded, you know what I mean? I've always kind of I don't think I've ever really had unrealistic expectation of what the world owes me, you know what I'm saying? I've always been ready to get my hands dirty and carry gear and eat, live on canned food and just pray that I have enough gas to get from show to show, live in the van, live under the van, live on top of the van. I don't know how the world's changed out there, you know what I'm saying? Like, Coheed kind of came up right when the internet was just when bands were really starting to come into their own online, you know what I'm saying? Like, through social media. I mean, I can tell you right now, with the people that have been working with me, I'm not too computer savvy, but this wouldn't happen if it wasn't for Facebook and everything else. So the driving force is going to be social media for this project. And I intend to keep this. I've been approached by some labels already that I'm sure just want to, I'm a guaranteed couple records sold just because of my, just because of my history with Coheed and Cambria and the big, the story of the arrest and everything. It's drama, and I'm looking the other way. This is definitely going to be a do-it-yourself thing. I'm going to do this completely independently. I might work with a label for distribution or something, but it's going to be indie, and I'm definitely I'm gonna keep this one in my pocket. I really want to dictate the way that this band evolves as a business. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is I want to retain what Coheed had for me in like 2002, 2003, when we were just coming out of the gate, really gaining some attention and stuff, because those were like the best years of my life. I was working so hard. I was so driven because I was hungry. We were all hungry. We had something that we believed in and we pushed it. And that's how I feel now. And I'm a little bit older. I'm 30-something years old. And I'm going to be 33 years old this summer, which actually isn't so bad. I'm younger than those other fellas. But I'm no spring chicken anymore, you know what I mean? It was very easy for me to drive 13 hours, sleep sitting up for 2 hours, and then sell merch and play a show and then do it again 7 days a week. I don't think I can do that anymore just because I'm older and have cancer. But, I'm ready to get back into the grind, man. I'm ready to get out there and play small shows, play for nobody, just play every day. I want to play. I want to meet people again. I want to sleep on floors. I want to be hands-on. I want everybody in the universe who wants to have a hand in the growth of this band artistically and every aspect, every tier of it, Does that make sense? I don't even know if I answered your question with that. I just kind of got carried away by my vision.
No, definitely. I think that was a good response to it. One of my favorite songs that you have it on YouTube, and I was happy to see that it will be on the live EP, at least you're thinking that it will be, Shoveling Earth. Can you kind of run us through that song for us? Like, what does that song mean so we can get into your head?
Well, Shoveling Earth, ooh. I mean, it's about, I mean, as most things are, it's about a girl. And really the difficulties of this shadow, like, it's about like a relationship that never happened, and regret, and a lot of it's like me trying to make amends for the mess that I've thrown my life into. You know, I've done a lot of things that are really selfish, and because of it, I've sacrificed relationships that could have been or should have been. You know what I mean? And Shoveling Earth it's really just it's kind of like it's about how a paradigm shift completely changed my perspective, and how I've literally, well, not literally, that's like the opposite of literally, figuratively, like, buried myself. Have what I've done is like the equivalent of suicide, practically, in my life, and I did not have a choice. I didn't make a decision to do these things. I was not sane, you know, and coming out of the other end of it and saying that, like, look what I'm doing, look what I can do, and look, like, can we try again? Can we put, you know, I'm a different person. I'm okay. I'm sorry that I chose my selfish indulgence over accountability and love. But look what I've done. But really, at the end of the day, what have I really done? You know what I mean? Like David Cross once said something about, like, you know, he's like, I don't lose my whatever when the guy at the donut shop gets my order, right? Like, I'm just, and that's where the lyric, like, give you a medal just for showing up, is kind of like, you know, it's the introspective. It's really looking at how much I've done, how much I'm willing to do, and how much this person, you know, the fictitious me of songs, is willing to change in his rebirth. I'm really kind of going off on tangents here, man. It's hard for me to explain exactly literally what it means, because my songs write themselves. Like, I have the music, either the lyrics are there and I write around it, or like most of the time, the song comes to just piece by piece and verse by verse, and the words fall out of my mouth before I write them down, and then I'd be like, oh wow, that's an interesting lyric that just happened, and that's how the story gets told. It's a stream of consciousness, and shoveling earth. It's the two easy meanings are, like, you know, the suicide that I committed, and then burying myself, and then digging myself out. You know what I mean? And I have this loner complex, man, where, like, I'm always alone, and if I'm not, I manage to do something to make myself alone. And this is the other me fighting back from that.
I know a lot of people you've probably seen on Facebook or Twitter. You've gone through a lot of horrible things in your life lately, but you've come back. And a lot of people have kind of seen you almost as an inspirational figure. But what is it that really gets you to keep going when everything is working against you?
I have just an insatiable and unquenchable thirst for life. I love life. Listen, I suffer a lot every day. I have a disease that makes me, and I'm not talking about the cancer, I'm a disease that makes me make myself suffer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see the best, the most beautiful sides of everything, and I see the absolute worst. And I'm not diagnosed bipolar or anything like that, but I have a very just eccentric perspective on the world. But it's unfathomable time to be alive. And in one day, in 1 hour, I can, like, feel the deepest, truest love that I've ever felt in my entire life, and then the next minute, complete and utter despair. That, like complete hopelessness. But I never get tired of it. I never get bored. I've got a lot I want to do on this planet. I've seen a lot of things. I've seen a lot of places. There's so much more to do. And, you know, the only way that I know how to articulate some of this stuff is through music, is through songs. And sometimes the lyrics are vague and don't really make sense, but musically is really where my perspective shines through. You know what I mean? The actual tones and melodies and sounds and syllables rather than like literal words. And, you know, having an artistic outlook on life is a blessing and a curse. You know, I'm required to make art to get through the day. You know, I don't know if that makes any sense, because I just don't know how to live. I don't know how to, you know, since cavemen have been writing, drawing pictures on the walls, there's some feelings and emotions and I don't know what they are, and I just don't want to write it right on the wall, you know. And it's just, like I said, at the end of the day, it's really that I've got like a lot more to do. I can't apologize to everybody. I can't explain myself to everybody. I can't, you know, I have a lot of regrets, mostly about how I treated other people, in particular, you know, the person directly involved with this crime, that I'm notoriously committed. If you believe it or not, I mean, there was a please and thank you involved in that crime, just because I that's like how I am, even at my sickest, most insane, confused. You know, I have a lot of regrets about things like that, but at the same time, I couldn't let myself want to change a thing, because it led me to where I am now, today. And I got to tell you, things aren't great right now. I'm very sick, you know, a lot of the time. But I have love in my life right now, and just, I don't know, man. Life is just so damn interesting. That's what keeps me going. I wish I could say I have this just desire to prove to everybody that I'm accountable, that I'm a good person, and that I'm not a criminal through and through. I'm not a violent person. I'm not any. But really, I can't do anything about what people think about me, and I'm never going to. I'm just trying to live my life, and if I can get to a place where every night I can close my eyes and go to sleep and feel good about how I live that day, that's what keeps me going. I want to be able to do that successfully every day. That's what it's about, and it's being able to like sleep at night. I don't know if that answers your question.
Here at WXAV, we are affiliated with St. Xavier University. What do you think the role of college radio is to the music industry?
Oh, the same thing it's always been, man, which is giving people a choice of what they listen to. You know what I mean? That you guys, I mean, there's with the internet, music is definitely more in the hands of the artist than it's ever been. You know what I mean? Ever since the Beatles put a price tag on music, on the art, you know, people have been telling us what to listen to and what to buy. It's become like any other product. And don't get me wrong, I love the Beatles. The Beatles are, you know, one of my favorite bands. You know, they're everybody's favorite band. But the Beatles are the ones that put a price tag on it, man. They're the ones that made the art, made the singer-songwriter a product. And ever since then, people are telling us what to listen to. Even now with the internet and everything, somehow there is still the machine. Somehow I'm hearing that, you know, same Kesha song every half hour on the radio on you know, your top 40 stations. You know what I mean? Nothing against Kesha. I actually like the girl, but you know, college radio isn't the machine. College radio is it's more about the art than it is about the product.
So, Mike, what is your earliest musical memory?
My earliest musical memory. All right, I think I can. This is definitely. I have a brother and sister. I have a couple, but in particular, my older brothers and sisters that are 8, 9, 10 years older than me. My sister had this poster on her wall of Prince, right? And I was like, what is that thing? I'm 6, you know, 5, or, you know, I don't really know, 6 or 7. And she played Purple Rain. My sister's a total 80s rocker chick, like bandana and the whole nine, like David Lee Roth posters everywhere, and Prince. And I don't know, something about how that music made me feel as a child. It's so interesting just when toddlers and children are developing, and he plays certain music and watch what they do, how they move, how they react, the faces they make. I was in love, man.